Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini, wrapping up another great week of Pittsburgh sports here on the Steel City Sports Report. And this one, even though the sports week was pretty fun to cover, it will be wrapping up on a sour note, of course. If you are, not in the know, the Pittsburgh Penguins got eliminated from the 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs back on Wednesday night. We had an off night last night. I had other things going on that needed tending to, but we're back here on this Friday to talk about it. And I'm actually quite happy that this is the first time talking about that game from Wednesday night, now nearly 48 hours after the fact, because now you've had a 2 days to, digest everything, review what happened, and not, come on here and say things, out of mostly emotion. Instead, today we are going to, tap into that emotional side a little bit. But if you were coming on here today to hear me talk about the Penguins and just go hog wild, slandering every single thing that they did wrong in this past series against the Philadelphia Flyers, I am not really planning on doing that here today. I mean, there will be plenty of time in the off season to, review what happened in the series, what went wrong, what went right. We will talk about the game from Wednesday a little bit and review, what the Pens could have done different, what they could have done different, in this series as a whole. But really just want to focus on the good things that happened this season, and also talk about the future of this Pittsburgh Penguins roster as it's currently constructed. Could this have been it for the big three of Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Chris Letang, especially the Malkin aspect of that threesome right there? So we'll talk about the game here in a few moments. We'll talk about what all Malkin, Crosby, Letang a little bit had to say. A bunch of other players, they cleaned out their lockers today. We'll talk about, what the future of Evgeny Malkin with the Pittsburgh Penguins may or may not be, and maybe a little bit of a preview of what's ahead for the Penguins this offseason as well. The Penguins, they can do just about anything that they want this offseason. They've got prospects, they got draft picks, they got a ton of cap space and money to spend this offseason. So as exciting, unexpectedly exciting season that it was for the Penguins, the offseason should follow suit, and, wildness ahead for the Penguins, hopefully for the better. After we're done with Penguins talk, which will take up a good chunk of the show here today, we'll talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and Pirates a little bit. The Steelers, not too much new news. Of course, I am expecting Steelers news to take a bit of a back seat, at least for the next couple of weeks, because the NFL draft is now past us. We'll have, rookie mini camp and all that to talk about, but the Steelers being a headliner in terms of everything, every single show, I am not really expecting that until we get closer to training camp in St. Vincent later on in the summer. Aaron Rodgers, that situation still ongoing. The Steelers back on Tuesday, I believe it was, putting the UFA tender on Rodgers. Art Rooney II, Steelers owner, yesterday, he chimed in on putting that tender on Rodgers, what all he had to say. Also, another bit of news about the Steelers, they declining a fifth-year option for the first-round pick in the Omar Khan era. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, you'll occasionally see me peeking over here to my right. I've got Apple TV on. I think the Bucks are going to be on there tonight, and not good sailing right now. Not smooth sailing whatsoever for the Buccos. They are still on a losing streak right now. They just got swept in 4 games by the Arizona Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals. Ugly series for the Bucks. They fought their hearts out, but just are in a rough one right now. But now we switch gears to a new series here tonight. Before we get things going here on this Friday, wrapping up the week of Pittsburgh sports, if you are new here, welcome to the Steel City Sports Report. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel. Again, whether it's a live stream like this covering all the latest and greatest of Pittsburgh sports news stories, whether it's an emergency live stream for a big breaking news story, we do a couple of those from time to time, whether it's a live stream for a sporting event. We've done all 3 Pittsburgh sports teams, professional Pittsburgh sports teams, games on them. We, of course, do every single Steeler game. We do Penguins games every now and again. Same thing for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And we just did the first 2 days of the NFL draft. So please come in, subscribe, turn on notifications. We're up to 809 subscribers last time I checked. Also, like this live stream right now, share this live stream so that we can grow the viewership on today's live stream and for videos moving forward. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or opinions, anything on your mind here on this Friday, please get those in the comments section right now. To the comments section we go. Got Concepts in here. Welcome back, Concepts. Big Steelers guy here on the channel. Likes to come in and let his voice be heard very, very often. But he comes in with a Penguins comment to begin the day here today. SCSR, I must be a Pens fan now because last night was very painful. Now I understand. I was always a casual. Still am probably. But damn, that hurt. It was a fun ride at least. Yeah, I mean, casual, diehard, what you experienced, their Concepts, no sort of, irregularity right there. I will say though, after 3 years of missing the playoffs for the Pens, ever since they had that Artemi Panarin Game 7 overtime winner back in, 2022. I do think a ton of Pens fans took for granted, seeing the Penguins in the playoffs every single year and having them back in this playoff series and against the opponent too. I'm not going to leave the Flyers out of this conversation either. Just having the Pens back in the playoffs, it felt so good, and having your heart race and you were, living and dying with every single shot, every single pass, turnover, save, everything that went on in that game back on Wednesday night. It felt good, but it didn't feel good, if you know what I mean. It's good to, have your team be relevant, have them back in there competing and having, legitimate excitement and anxiousness, but at the same time, it's a blissful release of that anxiety here today now that the season is over. So appreciate that, Concepts. It was a fun ride at least, and it's going to be bittersweet talking about that game. I'll have a little bit of criticism, but I do want to keep it mostly a celebration of the season and the big three of Crosby, Malkin, Letang, if indeed that was it for them back on Wednesday. Well said. Wednesday night, bittersweet. Couldn't have described it any better. Indeed, there, Concepts. Concepts also in here for another couple of comments as well surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. He, the big Steeler talker on the channel here. The more I watch of Jeremy Bernard, the more he looks like he was their number one wide receiver. Seems similar to Egbuka, to be honest. Very good at every facet of the position. Pick 47 keeps looking better and better. Yeah, I mean, I loved the Jeremy Bernard pick from the moment they announced it. I mean, I had in terms of my wide receiver rankings, I'm not going to pull it up right now, but just going back to the work I did pre-draft, you had Jeremy Bernard. I had, of course, I think the actual first 6 wide receivers that went off the board, or maybe 6 of the first 7 that went off the board. I keep forgetting that crazy Deshaun Stribling pick from the San Francisco 49ers. But you had, Tate, Lemon, Tyson, Boston, Concepcion, and Cooper. I think those are my top 6. Bernard, he was just very, very slightly right outside of that top tier, on the verge of being in that upper echelon group of wide receivers. And do I think he's going to be, wide receiver 1 someday for the Steelers? No. I do want to, I don't want to necessarily, kneecap a ceiling for this guy before he's even played a snap in the NFL. But Jeremy Bernard just feels like that legit wide receiver 2 that could do a lot of damage and even open up your wide receiver 1 a little bit more. He is that guy that you put there in the very end of your comment, a dude who does every single thing right. He can, play inside, outside, do all the things, not do them to, a necessarily elite level every single time. He doesn't have one outstanding trait that stands out, but does everything right. Jack of all trades. And like a Emeka Ibuka, I think another comp for him was a Jackson Smith and Jigba, a dude who's going to work the middle of the field, play physical, and do everything right, be in the right spots, all that sort of stuff there. So Jeremy Bernard, do love that. Also going from one wide receiver to kind of another here is Eli Heidenreich, the steal of the draft. His tape is great. I get the competition may play a role, but wow, fun late round pick. Indeed. I mean, I think that's really what you're looking for in all of your late round picks, looking for fun guys that, have outstanding qualities to them, at least, one or two outstanding qualities that you can, maybe develop and get them to find, that nice little niche role in your roster. Will Heidenreich be that? I don't know. Sort of spoiling ahead to something else later on in the show. Art Rooney II called Heidenreich his favorite seventh round pick that the Steelers have ever made. So we'll see what comes with Heidenreich. Don't want to put too much on the kid's plate. I know people are going a little bit hog wild with, oh, look, he did this and did that for Navy. He's a hometown guy. There's even a comp out there of him to Christian McCaffrey, but I'm not going to put too much on the kid's plate, right off the jump here. I just want him to find a role on the roster first and foremost. Right now, he's got some guys to fight with at the bottom of the wide receiver depth chart, and he'll be fighting with Caleb Johnson for RB3 if he ends up going the running back route to start his career. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. Starting off the show here, talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins, officially beginning the show here on this Friday. And Wednesday night felt good heading into that game with the Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. The Penguins looking borderline lifeless for the first three games of their series with the Flyers, but then they, in games 4 and 5, were able to play some of their best hockey collectively. They played a full team game, and you really felt like the Penguins had an excellent chance of being, I believe, the 23rd or 24th team, something like that. Maybe I'm, undershooting that a little bit. Team in NHL history to take a series in which they were down 3-0 and fight all the way back to a game 7. And it looked like for most of that game back on Wednesday night that the Penguins were going to be able to do that. Game started off with the Penguins rarely in the series starting off with the territorial advantage. They spent a ton of time in the Flyers zone, but the Flyers actually, for the few chances they got, they looked absolutely great. Arturs Shelovs, you're going to hear me mention him a bunch and wax poetic about him a little bit later on in this segment. Arturs Shelovs, he was outstanding, really kept the Penguins in this series and not just this game. This game that he played back on Wednesday night was the nutshell encapsulation of what he did throughout the entire Flyers series. The Flyers, of course, did, try their best to muck it up and get the Penguins to bite on some things. You had Porter Martone, that absolute scumbag of a 19-year-old, blast Blake Lizotte up and over Arturs Shelovs, almost into Shelovs. And, of course, Martone and Cryers fans, they wail about, Martone getting a stick below the belt, but let's not act like he didn't warrant that either. It was 0-0 after one second period. That is when the Pens looked like they were truly on the cusp of breaking that game wide open. You had all, 4 lines rotating, fluidly with each other, each and every line. It felt like that period got a excellent scoring chance. And it was so good, as a matter of fact, that the Penguins' fourth line, which by far the best line in that game and really over that last little fight in the series for the Penguins, the fourth line, Dewar, Lizotte, Chari, it was the Pens' best line. The Flyers, they had absolutely no answer for it. They pinned the Flyers in their own zone. The top line of Crosby, Raquel, and Rust, which they were pretty dangerous back on Wednesday night, they rolled over. Flyers end up icing the puck, and this was the bit of a turning point in the game because it felt like the Penguins were getting all these chances, but the Flyers were going to find a way to, cheat the system a little bit or get a lucky break. The Penguins, with Flyers players on the ice, caught out there for 2+ minutes. The Flyers ice it, and you have about half of the Flyers bench jump over the boards onto the ice. And that left the referees with one hell of a mess to clean up, to figure out, who was on, who was not on, who should be staying on the ice. It was just an absolute gong show and a travesty on the officiating because the Flyers, they end up, I think, eating up about 5 minutes of total time as the referees, sort out who was on the ice, who was not. Trevor Zegras, that absolute rat. I'm going to keep it at rat, my description of Trevor Zegras, to keep things, a little bit friendly, family friendly, and on the rails right here. Zegras goes down the tunnel, faking an injury so that another guy fresh off the bench would be able to hop on for him. And the Flyers, like I said, about 5 minutes of rest they got for the guys on the ice who were out there for 2+ minutes. And the Flyers, for that stunt they pulled, not a penalty whatsoever. At the very least, if you're going to let the Flyers, have guys off of an icing, get a free 5 minutes of rest, the very least you can do trying to figure out who's on, who's off. And the Flyers did that intentionally, throwing everybody on. Give them a delay of game penalty. Just absolutely ridiculous. Penguins get hosed out of having their top line go against a couple of pylon cones out there because that's how dead the Flyers were in terms of energy. Anyways, that was pretty much it for the Penguins' offensive spurt in that second period. They started the third period on the penalty kill because at the end of the second, Chris Letang finally took the bait of one Travis Konechny. He's another scumbag for the Flyers, and end up socking Konechny, which, from behind looked like Letang gave him a pretty good punch right to the face. Konechny selling it pretty well. And here Flyer fans call out Crosby for his embellishment. I mean, give Travis Konechny his Oscar Academy Award winning, trophy right there for that sell job he did on the Letang punch. Third period, not too much going on. I mean, Tommy Novak had an excellent chance in front, but could not pull the trigger. I mean, left all alone. I'm talking about in front of the net with the puck. I mean, at that point, just, throw it anywhere instead of trying to be cute and pass it off. Third period was mostly just both teams trying to not lose the game rather than trying to score and win it. I mean, Penguins had a little bit of a push and most of the offensive advantage in that period, but felt like it was destined for overtime. And that's indeed where the game went back on Wednesday. 76th overtime playoff game in Penguins history. The first time that the score was 0-0. And the Penguins, couple more chances to end the game in overtime. Couple shots went barely wide. I think Anthony Mantha, for as crappy of a game he had back on Wednesday, he could have, atoned for his sins with an excellent grade A chance he had. But unfortunately, all it takes is one lucky turn of events. Ben Kindle, for as solid all season as he has been for an 18-year-old on faceoffs, ended up losing a defensive zone draw off of a Penn's icing, I believe. Flyers, they go D to D, and Arturs Shilovs, who was outstanding, made, I believe, 31 saves. The 32nd shot of the game, he did not see, and it beat him glove side, just inside the post. Cam York with the shot, and the Flyers win Game 6 and win the series 4-2, eliminating the Penguins and ending their 2026 season. And that game back on Wednesday, I don't want to hear loser mentality because it's honestly true here. The better team lost. The Penguins, they played their absolute hearts out, and they controlled about 95% of that game. Really, the Flyers' only chances, except for that last goal for Cam York, was stuff that the Penguins gave away. Giveaways, their breakouts were pretty poor. And the Pens, they did everything but finish. And kind of, the encapsulation of the series, did everything but finish. They had a golden opportunity to claw themselves back into the series and just dug themselves too big a hole to climb out of. Not too many teams come back from 3-0. Thought this Penguins team could do it, and they came close to doing it, but just came up short. Now, the Penguins' playoff history, this will probably be the one of the only negative things I say about the Pens here tonight. Penguins' playoff history now starting to look a little bit like another team that we give a ton of flack to here in the city of Pittsburgh for their playoff luck. and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because you go back to when the Penguins last made it to the second round of the playoffs back in 2018. That was the Evgeny Kuznetsov overtime game winner for the Capitals back in 2018. Caps went on to win the Stanley Cup. Since that day, Penguins 2019 first round loss, 2020 lost in the qualifying round of that gimmicky COVID playoff to the Montreal Canadiens. 2021 first round loss, 2022 first round loss, 2023 through 2025 missed the playoffs, and then 2026 unexpectedly made the playoffs, but a first round loss. So Penguins falling on hard times right now, and it was an unexpected good season. It honest to God was, but still in a rough patch here in Penguins history, and not going to act like also that if the Penguins somehow made this comeback against the Flyers, that it was going to be anything glorious waiting on the other side. The Carolina Hurricanes, which are the biggest buzzsaw that I have seen in these playoffs, not named the Colorado Avalanche. The Flyers now get to go have fun with them. They'll be on the couch with us here sooner rather than later, and I'm going to hear a ton. I bet I've already heard a ton. I'm probably going to hear a lot more about the Flyers. Rubbing it in the Penguins' face. I hate that city. I hate the fans and everything to do with that side of the state. I'm not going to back down from that saying whatsoever. But at the end of the day, they can hate us all. We can hate each other all we want. At the end of the day, we know that we're better than them, because thankful I am here on this Friday to still know that I have watched this team in my lifetime win 3 Stanley Cups, and most of the fan base has watched all 5. And congrats, Flyers. I guess you beat the 39 and 40-year-old versions of this team that had all that great success. Took you that long to finally do something to knock them off, and that's where I kind of want to go now. You see the post there on your screen. Was this it for the big 3? I wonder. If it is, want to thank them. Crosby, Malkin, Letang, they gave me a blessed childhood into adulthood with 3 Stanley Cups and over, or just about, I should say, 4,000 games together, 3 Conn Smythes, 3 Harts, 4 Conn Smythes, 3 Hart trophies, just countless memories. And they did that all, too, going through 5 GMs and 5 head coaches in 2 decades. It is truly historic and special what those 3 men did together. And if this was it, I mean, just thank you. All you got to give them is gratitude. I see, some people saying, oh, it's time. This guy sucked. I'm not here to, get into blame game of, who got older, who didn't, produce, who, fell off a cliff. I think we all know, who's getting targeted in that. But just here to be blessed and grateful for the times that this group has given. Is this it? Is it not? I'm not the one to say. Only really one guy at this point can definitively say whether that was it or not for the core 3, and that is Kyle Dubas, which sort of transitions me into some more talk about the future exactly for this core 3 and for the team as a whole. Sidney Crosby, immediately after the game, back on Wednesday, said that Malkin and Letang, they're like family to him. Hopefully they can keep it together. Dan Muse gave praise to the trio, saying they continue to elevate and find different levels. Hasn't happened before in sports in North America, and there's a reason for it. And that takes us into today. Locker clean-out day at the Penguins practice facility in Cranberry. Want to start, of course, before we get into the man of the hour, that being Evgeny Malkin with Dan Muse. Congratulations to Dan Muse from a bald nobody that nobody had on the list of candidates for the Penguins head coaching jobs. He went from unknown to undeniable. Dan Muse was named a finalist today for the Jack Adams Award for NHL coach that is adjudged to have contributed to the most of of his team's success. I think Dan Muse, he's got a tough race. He's in there with John Cooper of the Lightning and Lindy Ruff of the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, Cooper, he's won it before. I mean, it's not like the Lightning overcame some sort of massive adversity. Lindy Ruff, he's probably going to eventually be the winner here because the Buffalo Sabres, them being the Cleveland Browns of the NHL, first time they've made the playoffs in over a decade, nearly a decade and a half. He'll probably end up winning it, but no slight or whatsoever, anything like that to Dan Muse and the job he did. A team that had 6.7% chance to make the playoffs, and they end up getting in pretty squeaky clean. He took a team of aging vets, 1-year deal rebound players, and the occasional rookie or two to the playoffs. That is pretty impressive there for Dan Muse. Future is bright for the Penguins in big part because Muse is behind the bench. Muse said that him getting the Jack Adams nomination is a credit to the players. Number one, said they're the ones on the ice playing. It's also a credit to the coaching staff. Muse said there's so much that goes into it, so many people behind the scenes. My name's on it, but it's a organizational thing more than anything else. And then we get into the Geno talk. Of course, Muse was asked about the future of Evgeny Malkin with the Pittsburgh Penguins, as was pretty much everybody else in the Penguins locker room here today. Muse on Malkin said it was great getting to know Malkin and the passion from his game. For him to be doing it at a high level is such a long time. Said he doesn't make those roster decisions. Said Muse on the future of Malkin. To Malkin himself, not too much new news from him and his current status and contract negotiations that are seemingly going on with the Penguins. He said that unsurprisingly, he wants to play one more year with the Penguins, and said that there is nothing new to share about his contract talks with Kyle Dubas. Those have been very, very behind the scenes. The only thing we knew and probably still know about the contract negotiations between Dubas and Malkin is that Dubas, Malkin, and Malkin's agent met at some point after the Olympic break, and I think that turned into we'll talk after the season, and felt like, Malkin going to get a 1-year deal with the Penguins. Felt like that. Now, I mean, who the hell knows with being first-round playoff exits and Dubas, being overly committed. Well, not overly committed, but being solidly committed to this idea of moving the Penguins into the future and not just being a team looking to make the playoffs, but being a team that's looking to make noise in the postseason. The most interesting part of this today from Malkin, he was asked if he was willing to play for another NHL team if he doesn't get an offer here. Malkin did say yes. He's not going to be retiring if the Penguins don't offer, and it doesn't sound like he's going to be going back to Mother Russia to play in the KHL either. So Malkin, one way or another, feels like he is fully committed to playing another season in the NHL. Right now, still put it at a 70 to 75% chance that next season in the NHL is with the Penguins. I think after all Malkin gave to you offensively wise in the regular season, and he was, a ghost at times in this past playoff series, but hey, as I say that, who really wasn't for the Pens other than Artur Shilovs? Still feels like Malkin has a place on this team, and I really, really like for Malkin especially his transition to the wing. I think he took that in stride, going from long-time center to right wing, and I think that is going to give him some longevity that maybe him sticking at center might not have given him. I do think the Pens are going to go hunting for a big game top line player this offseason, whether it's a winger or a centerman. If it's a centerman, there's tons out there being floated around. You got Robert Thomas with the St. Louis Blues. You got Austin Matthews maybe being dangled out there for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Even, I'm sure Connor McDavid rumors are going to start up again. Having Gino being a winger right now is going to give Kyle Dubas the flexibility to bring Gino back and also add in a young top line, player that I bet you he is coveting this offseason. So we'll see. That's the big stuff right there from Gino. Wants to play another year, wants to play in Pittsburgh, but it's ultimately up to Kyle Dubas. We'll see if Dubas feels the same. If not, Malkin could be going elsewhere. I fear it would be someplace that we do not like, say the Washington Capitals. Bet you they could use another Russian because hey, what's better than selling tickets than having the two greatest Russian players, arguably of all time, play on the same team. Malkin did get a little bit into the sappy side of things as well on the season and the playoffs. Said great season, tough playoffs. I want to say thank you to everyone, coaches, staff. They do a great job the whole year long. I mean, it's tough to talk right now after losing, but again, having this season is good because we stepped up from last year. It's special for me, for my family, my son born here. It's not just hockey. It's the city. It's fans. It's my friends here. It's lots of memories here. Never forget them. That was Gino's statement on playing in Pittsburgh for over 2 decades. I really hope that for Gino, these last two comments were not any sort of goodbye love letter. It's what it, oddly enough, sounded like to me, but really hoping that he's just, making a selling point to Kyle Dubas saying, hey, I really am in love with the city here and I'm going to keep fighting as hard as I can. Bring me back and let's have one more go at it next year. We'll see if Dubas ends up buying into that. I'm hoping so with my heart, but, if things come to be the way that they could be in my head, I guess I will understand it should that time come. On to Sidney Crosby as well. He talked about Gino again today. Said it's pretty obvious at this point that I'd love to keep playing with him. A long time ago, there was, I believe, the sentiment out there that whatever Sid wants, Sid gets. Kind of, still applies, but we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. Kyle Dubas has really put out there that he wants to take the team in the direction of his vision. So we'll see if Malkin is a part of that. Sid thinks it is. Hopefully there's no sort of animosity if the Pens do move on from Malkin between, Dubas and Sid. Some more on Sid as well. Felt like for a good portion of that series, at least the first 3 games, Crosby did not look like Crosby, did not look like the Flyers owner until the Pens' backs were against the wall 3-0. I thought it was, an injury. I still think it is, but Sid was really, impartial to his injury. Said he was generally pleased with how the season went in regards to his injury and how much longer, or onto his injury here. He said that, injury's fine and that the rehab is going pretty well. Sid also said about his future. Remember, Crosby's future not in any sort of guarantee either beyond next year, entering into the last year of his deal this next season. He said it's wait and see on a contract extension. Sid, I bet you it's he's a Tom Brady like guy. I've said it before. I'll say it again. He could play till he's 45 if he wanted to, but I do wonder if whatever happens with Malkin this season has any sort of effect on what happens with Crosby next season. I mean, honestly, it's naturally to think this. Hypothetically, Penguins run it back next year. They bring back Malkin. Even they bring back Letang. Crosby will say, all right, hey, got my guys back. Let's get another contract extension done. I'll be sure to, watch over the shifting of this old guard to the new guard, whoever they may be. But let's say, hey, Gino walks. Sid clearly sees that the Penguins are going in a young direction, and maybe he gets a little bit of too much, newness dropped on his plate. No more Malkin, no more Letang. He loses his brothers for 20 years. Maybe he then says, all right, hey, not as fun playing hockey anymore. I mean, I still love and am devoted to the game, but I miss my guys a bunch. Maybe I do call it a career as I hit 40. I mean, can't help but wonder. So let's wait and see with Crosby on a potential contract extension. Wait and see his words exactly on the season as a whole. Sid said similar things as Gino did. I think we probably surprised a lot of people. I think just the way we came together, the energy that we played with, just a really great group. It was fun to come to the rink every day, especially when you're winning and you're starting to see everything come together. That's really cool to be a part of, but also still stings that we feel like we could be playing Game 7 here. I think when you look at the season as a whole, I think there's a lot to be proud about there. Agreed, Sid. Pretty much everybody and how they feel about this Penguins season encapsulated by Crosby right there. Stings, still does sting a little bit. Not talking about here with you fine folks. Game 7 coming up tomorrow night, but cannot be, throwing the baby out with the bathwater here and calling this a terrible season. On to what some of the other guys said here, just, wrapping up, talk about the Pens. Chris Letang, similar to Sid, you just want to keep it going. It's all you know, talking about the uncertainty with Evgeny Malkin's future. Brian Rust, same thing. Ricard Raquel, same thing, even more so than the other guys. Ricard Raquel said that Gino will be back. Brian Rust said that he doesn't know life in the NHL without Malkin, and he wants Gino to be here as long as he is here. Erik Karlsson talked about the season, said similar things. It's good, stings, getting eliminated from the playoffs, but still is a good season. I have a whole new hope for the future with Erik Karlsson. He's 36, but damn, did he look like the Erik Karlsson of old under Dan Muse. Ben Kindle, he is going to be, I think, quite something for the Penguins in the future. Really, he's got that it mentality, a real true pro mentality. Was hard on himself for losing that face-off that led to the overtime goal, but he said that he's going to do everything in his power to never let it happen again. I bet you Kindle does take, a week or so off to, recharge the batteries. I mean, his body just went through a hell of a marathon going from juniors to an expanded NHL season and then the playoffs on top of it. But Kindle, for as good as he was on faceoffs as an 18-year-old, you normally do not see that from teenagers in the NHL. If he's going to use that overtime goal as motivation to be an even better centerman, you could be looking at Kindle as one of the top face-off guys in the NHL next year. That will be pretty fun to see. And then the last guy that I want to mention from Locker Cleanout today for the Pens, Artur Shilovs. I'm not sure if I did it already, but just absolutely outstanding standing ovation and round of applause for Artur Shilovs. I mean, talk about reigniting the fight and the fire for the Penguins in that series against the Flyers and elevating his game to damn near, I say, levels that we have not seen since prime number 29. Shilovs, 77 saves on 82 shots in the series. That is a .939 save percentage. Very deserving of all the praise and everything that, he earned, the respect and the future playing time in this series. Really a guy that elevates to the big moments. So appreciation for Artur Shilovs. And he did all that, saves and amazing, stuff in the series, apparently with a knee injury. Shilovs revealed today that he has been dealing with an unspecified knee ailment for about 3 or 4 weeks. And we'll see, I wouldn't be surprised, just like some of these other guys, if you hear, oh, this and this surgery was done to clear up this in a knee or something like that. But Shilovs putting on the performance he did for, damn near a month with a knee injury. That is outstanding and just absolute warrior mentality and makes you give him a tiny bit of a reprieve. Remember how we were saying, oh, Stu Skinner, definitely the better goaltender heading into playoffs. I wonder if some of that, struggles, near the end of the year for Sheloffs, if those came because of the knee injury or not. I'm not going to give him the full benefit of the doubt because, hey, why weren't you playing like how you played in this playoff series? But, knee injury. Hopefully he's able to come back, and we'll be getting ready for Artur Shelov's most likely as your Pens opening night starter next year with Sergei Murashov as the backup. And that finally transitions us into the future of the Penguins. Season over. Now we look ahead, ladies and gentlemen, to what should be quite the eventful offseason, not going to lie, for the Penguins. In terms of right now, let's say all the Penguins free agents walk and they don't sign anybody. You're looking at a Penguins roster which would have Raquel, Crosby, Rust, Chinikov, Novak, Brazo, McGroarty, Kindle, Avery Hayes, Elmer Soderblom, Blake Lizotte, Ville Koivunen, Parker Walderspoon, Eric Carlson, Sam Girard, Chris Letang, Ryan Graves, Jack Shane Ivany, and then Shelov's Murashov as your goaltending tandem. UFAs, unrestricted free agents. Evgeny Malkin, I still, think here 70 to 75% he will be back. He could easily still slide in on that top line or second line as a winger. Maybe you put him with Ben Kindle a little bit to get the youth flow with Malkin a little bit. And also Malkin, you could clearly see that Igor Chinikov, when he was playing his best hockey with the Penguins this past season, that came with when he was with Malkin. So Gino, pairing him back up with Chinikov, let him be, a mentor to the young guys while also playing with Sid and Letang more. I think that's bound to happen. One guy on this Penguins UFA list that I think you are guaranteed to see go elsewhere, Anthony Mantha. To Anthony Mantha, not going to talk about how you were Casper the Ghost in this playoff series and you did way more harm than you did good in every single game, especially in this last game 6. But Mantha, tip of the cap. Dude who came off of an ACL tear and ended up turning out, a 33, 34 goal season. He went from, a dude who was going to get flipped at the trade deadline to the Pens top scorer. Congrats to you. And also, Penguins, what they're looking for in free agency and what Mantha did don't line up. Mantha's going to get a bag by some veteran scoring needy team out there, but the Penguins, I think they're, going to be more in the Jason Robertson, category, some other, young winger that can, probably do what Mantha did. Not, the team goal scoring record lead here, but just being a guy to, get second, third line minutes and, produce. I think Mantha's going to get himself a nice bag elsewhere. And hey, best of luck to him. One hit wonder here in Pittsburgh. Good luck wherever you go. Connor Dewar, Nola Chari, those guys are UFAs. I'd try my damnedest to bring back both. Achari, he might, be one of those guys that's getting a little bit older. Maybe a team needing some depth signs him. Connor Dewar, I am worried, is going to go elsewhere. Still young and was, arguably the best part of that fourth line for the Penguins. And some team out there is going to, overpay for him and maybe even elevate his role a little bit. We'll see if Dewar's up to the challenge. The other, UFAs on here that are, really worth talking about. Ryan Shea, turned into, along with Parker Wotherspoon, excellent shutdown defenseman for the Pens. We'll see if he gets a deal or not. I'm a little bit skeptical. The Penguins do have, around $50 million in cap space, maybe just below that. But Ryan Shea, who's to say a team doesn't throw, a 5x5 or a 5x6 his way, and Shea ends up getting, his defensive work ends up getting him a payday. I would love for him to keep him as a steady Eddie defenseman, but I just don't think that is going to be all that likely. And Stu Skinner, kind of like in the Anthony Mantha situation. Thank you for all you did. You looked a hell of a lot better than Tristan Jarry did there at times. And it's just, circumstance. I'm hoping he lands with a good team somewhere else, Skinner, but you got, in terms of goaltenders, Shilovs, who, took over your place in the playoffs, and Sergei Murashov, who is still looking like he's going to be the next franchise guy here for the Penguins. So we'll get to see Murashov and Shilovs, Yoel Blomqvist, Taylor Gauthier, those guys not to be forgotten in this exercise as well. Goaltending is deep for the Penguins, and young, too. It's just a matter of who's going to make the most of their opportunity. So we'll see what happens for the Pens this offseason. Like I said, picks, cap space, prospects, a little bit of that if they end up dealing. And yeah, I mean, sucks the way the season ended. It honestly does. Losing to your division rival always stings, and especially with the fan base and all that roots against you. But to say that this Penguin season wasn't a success is far from the truth. I mean, you would have loved to have seen them fight to begin the playoffs a little bit more, but the Pens took what was a lottery team in the last offseason, to be a, team that made the playoffs and, did so with room to spare. Unexpectedly fun season for the Pens. And, Josh Getzoff, Phil Bork signing off back on Wednesday night. They said it best. This team has the heart of a lion. It was a great season. I know things sting right now, but the sun will come up tomorrow, indeed. So it was a tough loss for the Pens and a happy season that gave us a lot of good memories comes to an end. But, all you got to do is be grateful for the big three if this was it. And now it's on to hopefully brighter days ahead for the Penguins. This offseason certainly sets up to be optimistic for the Pens, and we will see if we end up reaching that point. What say you in the comments section? You feel hopeful about the Pens moving forward into the offseason? They pushed the right buttons. I think this team could continue to thread excellently, and I'm talking about Kyle Dubas here, that fine line of still competing with the old core, but also setting yourself up for the long-term future. So on to the offseason for the Pens, and let the fun rumors and speculations begin. Is Austin Matthews going to come to Pittsburgh? I mean, yeah, highly doubt that. Like Toronto, of all, is going to trade him to Kyle Dubas, of all teams here. Could it be Connor McDavid's farewell in Edmonton? We'll see if that happens. Edmonton just got eliminated last night, and woof, they are really going through it right now. Jason Robertson, Robert Thomas, should they be learning to love fries on their sandwiches? We'll see here. So thank you, Penguins, for a unexpectedly exciting and happy season, and sucks the way it ended, but hey, such is life, such is hockey. On to the next for the Penguins and an exciting off season ahead. 6 of you in here right now. Welcome in. On your way in, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel. Again, like, share, leave a comment in the comment section, just like Concepts right here. How does the NHL Hall of Fame compare to the NFL's? More or less strict? I'm guessing the big three must be no-brainer additions. Yeah, they will be no-brainer additions. If it were, honestly, we might be, no joke, on the doorstep of Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, getting the Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky type treatment where they waive the waiting period. I do think, Crosby's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Same thing with Evgeny Malkin. Chris Letang, it's hard to tell if he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but you will see no-brainer all of those big three in the Hockey Hall of Fame someday. Not sure how strict it is compared to the NFL. I do think hockey writers who get to vote on who gets into the Hall of Fame are pretty, snarly bunch to get through. But, I mean, even they, of all people, got to, recognize greatness and say, hey, these guys are getting in, and we're not going to, overthink this of should they be first ballot guys or not. That is for sure. Concepts here. This loss reminds me of the loss to the Ratbirds in the playoffs. Now for them, them to lose next, like Baltimore did. Yeah, talking about the Flyers. I mean, I fully believe this. I wanted just out of, pure spite and hatred to beat the Flyers. I mean, it didn't turn out that way, such as hockey and all that. We're still going to talk that crap and, be better than the other here. But I fully believe, whoever made it out of this series for the Penguins and Flyers, just waiting for, the Carolina Hurricanes on the other side. They look like a juggernaut. I think the Penguins really put a big seed of doubt into the Flyers and made them expend a lot more energy than they wanted to. And the Penguins, you don't even need to go outside the season to look about how well they did against the Hurricanes. I believe they got swept in the series, in the 4-game season series by the Canes. And yeah, they seemingly got everything. They like to fight fire with fire. And the Flyers, they want to play that, run and gun, hit people game with the Canes. Canes can go toe-to-toe with them with that. And also the Flyers, if they want to go with more of a skill game against Carolina, don't think they necessarily have the horses, because as soon as the Zegras and Martone line comes off the ice, the Capital or the Hurricanes, they're going from Sebastian Aho to Logan Stankoven and all that. Just Canes are deep. Do they necessarily have that star player? No, neither team really does. But Hurricanes, they are deeper than the Flyers, and I think they know how to win this time of year. And the Flyers, still being young pups, they're due for a learning experience here. 7 of you in here right now. Besides hockey, told you that the show was going to take up most of Penguins talk here today. Do want to get into really quickly the other 2 Pittsburgh sports teams and the top stories surrounding them. Over to football, Pittsburgh Steelers. Not too much new news on the Aaron Rodgers front after the Steelers, put the UFA tag on Aaron Rodgers back on Tuesday. We did, however, hear from owner Art Rooney II. Art Rooney II talking about Aaron Rodgers, said, "We've been in contact on a regular basis, and he's been keeping us up to date on his plans. Even though I thought I would have been that this would have been concluded by now." No kidding, Art. We went from, Rodgers is going to sign before free agency to, he's going to sign before the draft to, now we don't know when he's going to sign. Rooney did say that, quote, "I think we will come to a conclusion here in the next few weeks. We alerted Aaron and his representative that we were going to do this tender, and so that's not a real big deal. Just something that is the unlikely, that in the unlikely event he goes somewhere else, we are eligible for our comp pick." So pretty much, I think what we said back here on Wednesday, that this is just the Steelers covering their, own asses here, making sure that they walk away with something here, even though it's still most likely heading in the direction of Rodgers being the Steelers quarterback. Hearing it from Rooney feels like that's, clearly where the Steelers side of things are here. However, how does Rodgers take it? That's still, a question. Is he upset by this tender that, sort of puts him on the clock to make a decision and not wait forever for another team to come calling? And, also, what did Rooney mean? That's another thing. What did he mean by, "I think we're going to come to a conclusion here in the next few weeks"? Are you sure, Art? Are you sure we're coming to that conclusion here? Because it was always, by this date, I want to hear something. By this day, I expect a decision. And now we're here. Just, I don't know. Now we move in the goalposts again here on this Rodgers thing. We'll see if this comes true. The next few weeks for Rooney, I assume he means coming up here for maybe OTAs. OTAs is now in 17 days. We are into the month of May, and OTAs are now on May 18th for the Steelers. Voluntary OTAs, that is, by the way. I think the Steelers moved that back initially from earlier in the month, so maybe that's them placating to Rodgers a little bit. Mandatory minicamp for the Steelers will be June 2nd through the 4th, so we'll see if Rodgers shows up for the mandatory stuff by then. And also another thing that makes you kind of believe that this is still going to go in the direction of Rodgers and the Steelers getting back together. Thought this was interesting from Nick Farabaugh of Penn Live. He said on 93.7 The Fan today that Rodgers, in his conversations with head coach Mike McCarthy, has been asking about practice specifics and, schedules and that sort of thing. Kind of feels a bit odd that Rodgers would be asking that while, contemplating retirement or playing for another team. So Rodgers, still just delaying the inevitable here. I know we all get annoyed by it, and we wish that the Steelers would just cut their losses and move on already and stop, bowing down to the wishes and whims of a 43-year-old, soon to be 44-year-old. But that's where we are right now. Still, other news for the Steelers. The other top story that I wanted to talk about besides the Rodgers tender, Broderick Jones. He's the other big story for the Steelers right now. Steelers drafted left tackle, or right tackle, I should say, currently Troy Fautanu the year after Broderick Jones got drafted in 2024. In this past draft, the Steelers took right tackle out of Arizona State, Maxie Hornachor. That put Broderick Jones on the cutting edge here, and it's official. It's a big boy year for Broderick Jones, assuming he plays. Fifth-year option for the first round pick in the Omar Khan era was declined. So Jones will not be getting paid the $19.1 million that comes with the fifth-year option. He's coming off of a neck surgery and will be set to be a free agent in 2027. We'll see if Jones even plays this year. I'm hoping he does, and hoping he is, able to show us something that, makes us think this first-round pick wasn't a dud, but it's not really looking too good there for Mr. Broderick. So fifth-year option declined, and that continues the run of poor first-round picks by the Steelers. Since the Steelers drafted T.J. Watt back in 2017, first-round picks for the Steelers since then. Terrell Edmonds, fifth-year option declined. Devin Bush, fifth-year option declined. 2020, no first-round pick because the Steelers traded it away for Minkah Fitzpatrick. 2021, Najee Harris, declined. 2022, Kenny Pickett, traded. And now Broderick Jones here in 2023, his fifth-year option declined. We'll see what's next for Troy Fautanu. Hopefully he continues to look like a damn good player that the Steelers would easily pick up that fifth-year option. We'll have to wait and see here. So things not going good for Broderick Jones or really anything in Steeler land right now. Back here to the comment section concepts. Rooney said they informed Rodgers for the tender beforehand, so it shouldn't change anything. I would assume Rodgers has 22 to 23 years in this business, so he's probably seen it all, even more now, LOL. It's just the, I'm trying to think here. Just the being there part of it. I mean, if Rodgers would just, quit kicking his feet and just put pen to paper, he doesn't need to do a damn thing in mandatory OTAs for all I care. Just be there, be present, get around the guys, make sure that your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. You're going into a new offense, even though it's, your old offense. But, I mean, just continuing this charade of making sure his name is constantly in the news cycle. Am I coming back? Am I not? Just sick of it at this point. We know he's going to come back, most likely, but just put the pen to paper already and at least show us that, you're alive and that you're going to, be there. It's the least you can do. Just show up. Don't need to do anything. You can kick up your feet and, go out there to the sideline of the practice field at the Rooney Sports Complex with a couch and just sit there and watch Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Drew Allard, but at least show you're there. It's all I really want to see. It's what I'm pissed off with at the most for this. Thought when Fautanu was drafted, he would naturally be at left tackle. I also think Max is the build to be an elite left tackle or right tackle. I'm very sad, but also hopeful for Broderick. I mean, right now, to be honest, if we're being serious here, is the most best case scenario that you can get for Broderick Jones is that he, elevates his stock enough to be, a trade candidate, because Faatanu, I mean, already entrenched at right tackle, pretty solid there. Could easily move to left tackle where he played in college. And Ihornichor, first round pick, dude who has a tremendous ceiling, bit of a project. So maybe you do see Ihornichor sit, a year behind Faatanu at right tackle if Jones is healthy enough to play left. But I mean, hopeful for Broderick. Just window is very, very, tiny right now for him to be a long-term Steeler right now. Truth here, you think the Steelers could realistically win the Super Bowl? I think no way. No. A lot would have to go right. Don't think Mr. Aaron Rodgers is going to have any sort of monumental impact or improvement off of what he showed us last season. Are his weapons better? Yes. Is the offensive system he's going to be playing probably better? I'd say yes. But, there's a certain ceiling here, for a 44-year-old. I mean, we'll see. Only one quarterback his age has done something truly elite beyond, the age 44, and that was Tom Brady. Could Rodgers do it? Yes. I'm just not putting it in a great likelihood here. The unknown is what's frustrating, so I get it. Don't think Rodgers owes any answers till he's ready, but I get wanting an answer as fans as well. Just excited, and nothing will change that. I understand that concept, and I do understand. I do want to be one of these rare groups of Steelers fans out here where I say, hoping, honest to God, that everything in Rodgers' personal life is all right, and that everything he's got going on, in life outside of football is going well. But at the same time, second year in a row now where we're past all of the points in the offseason where you could replace Rodgers or, make a plan to, fill his role. And you've gotten past all those points without an answer from him. And now, at the drop of a hat, he could, screw over the Steelers here and say, hey, figure it out with, what you got. No way you're going to, improve with someone maybe near more the top of the draft or signing a free agent, something like that. So it's just the timeline of why everything's got to be, drawn out is what's annoying here. What is the date the NFL has to the script is finished and submitted by? I kid. I think that's just like a TV show, like a comedy TV show. You gotta have the script go week by week. So we'll see here. I would never blame Rodgers for doing whatever he feels. Rooney is the one who enables this waiting game. Blame Rooney. I am blaming Rooney. Trust me. That is someone I am not eliminating from blame here. But at the same time, he's putting a ton of trust in Rodgers, and Rodgers ain't necessarily responding. So, I mean, yeah, trust me, I'm first one on the bandwagon here of the day Art Rooney, gives the team to his son Danny. I will be jumping for joy with that because Danny, I think, by far the more football savvy of the two here. So 6 of you still in here. Got one more section to go through here, and then we'll quickly wrap up the show. Back into baseball for a second. Pittsburgh Pirates. They not going to start, actually. Looking over here to my right at the pregame show for Bucks and Reds. That game is in a rain delay. First pitch was supposed to happen 3 minutes ago, but the game will be delayed between the Bucks and Reds. But we can talk about what happened past 2 days since we last spoke. Pirates were in the midst of a 3-game season long losing streak. They lost the series finale, I believe, to the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee. And then they dropped the first 2 games of their last series with the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Cardinals did not let up against the Bucks, and the Bucks just continued to get close, but not close enough. Game 3 of their series with the Cardinals. Rough outing for Bubba Chandler. Just went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, walked 4 guys, did strike out 6, but was continuing to have struggles with command and get in the zone. Pirates did have a couple of chances back on Wednesday to get back into the game. Nick York ended up delivering on a pinch hit RBI 2-run single. Pirates had the bases loaded with 1 out in the 8th inning, and they were only able to get across 1 run there. Final score ended up being 5-4 back on Wednesday. Nick Gonzalez had a runner on with 2 outs, and the first pitch he saw Gonzalez, who's been one of the hotter hitters for the Bucks recently, but I mean, that's saying something about how the Bucks are going if Nick Gonzalez is your hottest hitter. Gonzalez drove the ball all the way to the wall in left field, but a jumping catch for left fielder Nathan Church robbed a walk-off 2-run home run and led the Cardinals to a 5-4 victory. Even things are going so bad right now for the Bucks that not even the slump stopper, that is Paul Skeens, could save them. Skeens and the Bucks lineup, which was loaded from head to toe yesterday to go out and try to salvage 1 game of the series, did not go well. Skeens, first inning, gives up 2 home runs, one to J.J. Weatherholt, who is a local kid and looks like he is carving out himself an early pirate killer name for himself. And Jordan Walker, who's turned into prime Barry Bonds all of a sudden for the Cardinals, hit a 2-run homer. Paul Skeens ended up having, not his most dominant day, but after that first inning, dominant, you could say. Ended up throwing 102 pitches. I mean, good stuff on Donnie Kelly to open up the throttle there for Paul Skeens. But Skeens goes 5 innings, did give up 7 hits and had 4 earned runs and 7 hits against him, but still walked nobody, struck out 9 guys. Just Skeens, that's pretty much an off day for him, but still an off day some other guys would probably take. The Pirates, again, kind of like what they did all series. They would, in the later innings, try to make a comeback attempt, but come up short. Brandon Lau, I think, brought the game within a 5-4 score again, but then the Cardinals, the next half inning, ended up putting a hurting on the Bucks bullpen, which they have fallen on really rough times. I mean, there's not a single guy in the Pirates bullpen right now, except for maybe Gregory Soto, that you can say, oh, he's coming into the game. Yeah, he'll have a shutdown inning here. So rough times for the Bucks right now. They are now losers of 5 straight, and somehow, some way, out of all this, the Pirates still in this absolute civil war that is the NL Central right now. You've got all teams right now in the NL Central above or at 500. Pirates in last place. They're just 4.5 games back at 16-16, and really hoping that this series here with the Reds turns the tides, because the Reds right now top of the division at 20-11. They're having a really hot start to the season. We'll see if it fades down the stretch here, but the Bucks could really turn the tide and get fortunes back in their favor if they're able to wash this series with the St. Louis Cardinals, because the Cardinals seemingly always have the Bucks number no matter how good or bad they are. And Bucks can go from the basement to damn near the penthouse of the division here with one good series against the Reds. See if it happens. Mitch Keller supposed to be on the bump tonight for the Bucks. Rain delay game hasn't started. Keller should be good to go to start tonight whenever the game gets underway. The lineup for the Bucks: O'Neal Cruz, Brandon Lau, Brian Reynolds, Ryan O'Hearn, Nick Gonzalez, Marcell Ozuna, Spencer Horwitz, Connor Griffin, and Henry Davis. So going back with a A-plus lineup tonight for the Bucks is Donnie Kelly. Let's go Bucks, please. Your only hope now. The season is now over for the Buccos, or for the Penguins. So now it's time for the summer of the Bucks to officially begin, and hopefully they are able to carry us with some excitement throughout these next few months. Back here to the comment section one last time here, ladies and gentlemen, before we head into the little bit of extra Pittsburgh sports news we have here this evening and call it a night and head into the weekend. We got truth here. Really don't like Rodgers anymore as a player. Just think we're wasting time. I mean, yeah, like I said, there's a ceiling, for what he can give you right now. And I think we saw him hit that ceiling, even with the lackluster cast of characters he had around him. Rodgers got banged up. You can tell, really as the season went along, he looked, more like an old man, got the ball out, quickly. The offense became, dink and dunk. He didn't want to, get hit anymore. And unless it was the 2-minute drill, Rodgers really was, ultra conservative in what he did and being aggressive and stuff like that. So would you feel better now if we had signed Malik Willis to the deal Miami did? His traits are interesting, but that's a big risk. That will be an interesting thing to watch this season. Would not have signed Malik Willis to that deal. I mean, I think that's just him playing off of the successes of Sam Darnold. But would I have, I don't know, taken a shot on someone like, I don't know, even who all was left there for free agent quarterbacks? Not too many. I still would have taken a shot at a guy like Mac Jones, a first-round guy that you could have gotten on the cheap. And, you still could have gone to a Will Howard or a Drew Aller, but at least you were taking swings at either reclamation projects or guys who, were new and, still had all the potential in the world rather than, waiting for, at this point in his career, it has been here. I mean, would do anything besides just, going with the same thing over and over again. Even with the coaching change, it feels too similar to last season here. Timing after I brought him up Wednesday, my fan goggles want him back. 2020 Mapletron with Ben was insane. Yeah, Concept's talking about Chase Claypool getting a tryout with the Packers, which more or less takes us into the extra Pittsburgh sports news, ladies and gentlemen. That was one of the Steeler topics that I had here for today. The Steelers' former wide receiver Chase Claypool having a tryout with the Green Bay Packers. He's a part of, I think, a 38-person rookie minicamp is Claypool. So we'll see if he ends up getting a spot on Green Bay. That's one of the Steelers stories in the extra Pittsburgh sports news we'll get here in a minute. Is Derek Carr waiting for Rodgers to make a decision? Also, I read the 49ers want big draft capital for Mac, but can't confirm. If that's the case, not going to move anything draft capital-wise for Mac Jones. Can't remember who all the free agent quarterbacks were. Derek Carr, I don't think anybody, Derek Carr is waiting for anybody. I just think there's, not all that much interest out there. I think people seen him before, know what he's got, and they don't want to go down that road anymore unless it's, like last option here. So I think Derek Carr is not getting any traction because teams just don't want him here. To the extra Pittsburgh sports news for today, this Friday, May 1st. We're into the month of May. Happy new month, everybody. Wrapping up the extra Pirates news, seeing how we were just talking about them a moment ago. Injury updates, got a couple of those, most of which are good. Jared Jones, with the way the Pirates pitching has been lately, he might be getting fast-tracked through his rehab process quicker than what we expect, because Jones looked damn good in his first rehab assignment for Low A Bradenton Marauders back on Wednesday night. Jones, 3 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, no walks, struck out 5 guys on 41 pitches, and he even touched with his fastball velocity 101 miles an hour. So Jones looked pretty all the way back. I would not expect him to be in Bradenton for long. Maybe he makes a start in, let's say, Bradenton, and then, High A the next start. Double A, the next start, Triple A, and then you get a couple of starts under his belt. Maybe he does make it back to the major league roster by the end of this month. The recovery is going normally per Todd Tomzich, the Pirates head medical guy, said that they don't know where his next start will be yet, but all signs are positive with him. Jared Triolo working his way back from a knee injury, down with Double A Altoona. He is making back-to-back starts, I think yesterday and today. So Triolo, big tree. Not necessarily thinking he's going to help. Bring more offense to the lineup here. But could he be used defensively wise? Yes. I mean, right now, Bucs defense has been atrocious. Brian Reynolds in the outfield, he's been god awful. You've seen flashes of potential at third base for Nick Gonzalez, but still has his rough spots. Connor Griffin going to be an excellent, and I mean maybe even elite defender at shortstop in his MLB career, but he's going through some growing pains there right now. The glove of Jared Triolo, it's being kind of missed right now because these errors that the Bucs are committing, they turn into 2 runs, 3 runs in an inning, and that's pretty much the game right there. Last injury report, Joe Stinson Garcia, top outfield prospect for the Pirates. I would bet he is having a rehab assignment for lower back issues, being transferred to Florida. So Garcia had a half-decent spring training. I believe had a okay start with AAA Indianapolis. He is going to be on the shelf for a little bit if I had to guess. And also, really hoping that the Bucs' hard times on the field, not looking entirely similar to how the Bucs looked last year. But remember last year when the Pirates' issues on the field were translating off the field? You had the Bucko Bricks fiasco, the Clemente Wall thing, ushers fighting fans, fan falling from the Clemente Wall. Really hoping that the badness on the field isn't spreading too much off the field for the Pirates, because the Pirates, you would not believe the organization that they got in trouble with. The Pirates, I believe it was in yesterday's game, they had Punxsutawney Phil, the groundhog that predicts the weather, out on the field to throw the first pitch. And apparently PETA sent out a letter to the Pirates expressing their frustration over Phil being there, saying, Phil is a animal that is being, held against his will in captivity and hates loud sounds and big crowds, even though he's a groundhog. That kind of, is the whole point of him being popular. So PETA being on the Buccos you-know-what list is, or I should say vice versa, the Buccos being on PETA's you-know-what list. I had no idea that was going to happen this season. So, wow, that's all I'm going to say there. Moving back into football for a second. Interesting quote from Mike McCarthy. He was on Mad Dog Sports Radio yesterday. Even though the Steelers drafted Drew Aller, which I think a ton of people took the drafting of Aller as, they liked all that liking and waxing poetically about Will Howard. That was all fugazi and stuff like that. Apparently McCarthy still hyping up Will Howard. He said, quote, on the radio, I think he's going to definitely be a starter in this league. Interesting, though, going to be a starter in this league, Will Howard. Did not mention the Steelers. Am I reading too much into that? Probably, but still McCarthy hyping up Will Howard. So, I mean, doesn't really have a reason to hype up Howard now that they've got Drew Aller, but he's still doing it. Moving from one quarterback to a former Steeler quarterback, Russell Wilson. You remember him earlier this week. He had a tryout with the New York Jets. I said in the time, I thought Russell Wilson was preparing for a life after football analyst career. Turns out he actually is doing that. Wilson has had serious talks with CBS about becoming a studio analyst, replacing Matt Ryan. So if Wilson lets go of the playing dream for him for football. Looks like he might indeed be going to the not broadcast booth, but behind the desk to do work there. Moving from quarterbacks to wide receivers, DK Metcalf in that absolutely insane, stupid situation between him and the Detroit Lion fan. I think that is all now officially swept under the rug. Reports today from the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. No charges will be filed against DeKalen Metcalf for the incident with the Lion fan because, quote, the fan did not appear to be injured, nor did he seek medical attention at the game. That is coming from the prosecutor's office themselves. And yeah, no kidding. I mean, dude stood up there immediately after the fact, putting his arms up in the air, wanted to stay and watch the game, said that was the goal, to get that reaction from Metcalf. It's stupid on Metcalf's part to, accept that invitation and go over there and do stupid stuff. But yeah, big nothing burger. Said it was that here on the channel for, ever now. And now it looks like bye-bye, idiot blue wig wearing dude, and go enjoy the rest of your obscurity as a Lions fan. And the last two notes here for the Steelers, aside from that Chase Claypool thing we already mentioned, Roman Wilson changed his number, going from number 10 to number 14. I think that's interesting, wearing his number that he wore at Michigan. Also, maybe he's trying to resurrect his, not all that off to a hot start NFL career by wearing a number that the past couple Steelers, they've worn number 14. They have been pretty elite. George Pickens, talent, undeniable, wearing number 14. Kenneth Gainwell, MVP year for the Steelers, wearing number 14. So maybe Wilson can try to usurp some of the powers that number possesses. And the last bit of news I have here today, ladies and gentlemen, not relating to the Steelers, but is interesting. The Baltimore Ravens, they are reuniting with, I guess, their Cam Hayward, Calais Campbell, who has been in the league forever and continues year after year to seemingly not age. He is signing a one-year deal with the Ravens and will play on the Ravens defensive line for his 40th year 40 season, age 40 season, his 19th NFL season in total. So Calais Campbell going to be back in the AFC North. I think that is just about going to wrap up tonight's festivities, ladies and gentlemen. Just looking here on Twitter, taking one more scroll. We are now an hour into this delay. The game was going to start under a delay. Bucks posted about an hour ago that the game was going to start in the delay. They have not yet posted if the game, when the game will start. I think so. Looks like it's going to be a late night watching the Buccos, if I had to guess. Looking here, Will Howard, interesting here, just posted on his Instagram a couple hours ago a picture of him and Aaron Rodgers at that celebrity or charity flag football game that went on about a month ago. Maybe he knows something that we don't know. I'm hoping that that's the case and that this thing gets put to bed finally with Aaron Rodgers. Seeing if there's anything else here. Tons of people making fake mock-ups and AI generated images of what a new Steelers dome stadium would look like, because the Browns again released renderings of their stadium, and my goodness, does that thing look bland as hell, like a warehouse that they just rented out. And by the way, piss on the Browns for going soft and being the first AFC North team, which is supposed to be one of the grittiest divisions in all of football. Piss on them for going soft and getting a dome. Looking here, scrolling past a video here of a Bears fan from years ago reacting to the Chase Claypool trade and celebrating it. Honestly, that is a that is the only thing really that Omar Khan has to hang his hat on. I mean, he's had a couple of decent draft picks, but if it wasn't for the Chase Claypool trade that netted them Joey Porter Jr., that would be very, very. That would be we'd be much more tougher on Omar Khan is what I'm saying here. Looking at some other things, Fox Sports here, top 10 selling jerseys of 2026 NFL draft picks. One Steeler is in the top 10. And for all the controversy that came around this pick, he is in the top 10. Drew Aller is among the top 2026 NFL draft pick jersey sales already. And he doesn't even have a number yet. That's kind of weird that we haven't gotten any sort of jersey numbers yet, or videos of these new Steelers in the building having any sort of engagement online for that stuff. Looking here, not seeing anything else really. Just scrolled past that Russell Wilson to CBS thing again, and this post going over his accomplishments. Super Bowl champion, 10-time Pro Bowler, Walter Payton Man of the Year, nearly 47,000 passing yards, 353 passing touchdowns. Will Russell Wilson get into Canton someday? That is going to be an interesting question. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it tonight. This was a bit longer than expected live stream. I think I went into a pretty decent rant on the Penguins here. But, I mean, hey, just celebration over the unexpectedly awesome season for the Penguins. Playoffs, I mean, they were what they were. It sucks. But future is still bright for the Penguins. I am not going to deny that. I'm hoping that the future still consists of, Evgeny Malkin and Sidney Crosby. And even though his play declined, Chris Letang, just keeping the core three together for, the sake of keeping them together. I think that's worth it. They've earned it. But still moving into the future, slowly creeping into the future, the Penguins, I mean, for this year, the way it went, it was unexpectedly awesome. And the future is bright, especially the immediate future heading into this offseason. Tons of draft picks and you got money to spend for the Pens. Lots of things you can do via trade or free agency. Excited to see what's ahead for the Penguins, even though it still stings them just getting eliminated from playoffs. So we'll see where things head from here. And it's going to be a long summer here. Hopefully the Pirates get their stuff together, and hopefully we are about to get the game. It says on the TV here, still currently in a rain delay, but they went back from another game they were watching. It was a Detroit Tiger game that was on. They cut back from that game to the studio, so maybe they're taking the tarp off the field. Hopefully we get Buccos baseball here tonight, and hopefully you all come back here on Monday. Not sure what we'll talk about, but I'm sure Pittsburgh Sports News will do its thing, and we'll have a lot to talk about back here on Monday. So thank you all for swinging on by. Penn's season comes to an end, but brighter days ahead. Sun's coming up tomorrow. Have a good rest of your Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. On your way out, subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so that you never miss a thing here on Steel City Sports Report. Again, like, share, leave a comment in the comments section. Go check out the channel at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and tune back in at some point later on this evening for a new edition of SCSR 60. Have a good rest of your Friday night and weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Barring any massive breaking news, say an Aaron Rodgers signing, we will be back here on Monday to recap the latest and greatest in Pittsburgh sports. Let's go, Bucks. Thank you, Penguins. Steelers, please sign Aaron Rodgers already. Have a good rest of your weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.